In this unit, we're learning all about the use of operators. We've already learnt how mathematical operators can be used to manipulate numbers, for example by adding two numbers together, or doubling a number. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use logical operators to help make decisions. Let's take a look at a simple if statement. As you know, this simply asks a question and then runs some code if the condition is met. We should really use the terms true and false, with true meaning the condition was met, so the code runs, and false meaning the condition was not met, so the code doesn't run. As you know, we can use a range of blocks from the sensing menu with an if statement, but we can also use blocks from our operators menu. Take for example this equals operator here. We use this to see if two values are equal. If they are, we say this is true, so the code inside the if statement runs. Let's drag and drop this into my if statement. I'll then enter two numbers, say 5 and 3. Are these equal? Are they the same? Well, no, so the answer is false, so the code within the statement won't run. I'll prove that by adding a simple play sound block. As you can see, when I run the program, the sound doesn't play because the two values aren't equal. Let's change them so that they are the same and then run it again. Now the condition is true, the values are equal, so the code runs, playing the sound. Let's try a different operator, this time the less than block. This will compare two numbers to see if one is less than the other. If it is, the condition is true, so the code will run. See? Let's have a look at three more logical operators: the AND block, the OR block, and the NOT block. Here you can see I have a very simple activity where my cat is controlled by the computer keyboard. If the cat touches the crab, he says hello. I'd like to adapt this code so that the cat says hello if he's touching the crab or if the spacebar is pressed. Of course, I could do this by creating a whole new block of code, but this is inefficient. Instead, I can use the OR operator. Let's create some space and then drag and drop it into place. As you can see, I now have two rules or conditions. We can drag our touching block into the first space, and then we'll add the key pressed block from the sensing menu to the second space. Let's watch what happens now. As you can see, when the cat touches the crab, the code inside the if statement runs, because one of the conditions is true. Well, what if the cat isn't touching the crab and the space key is pressed? Well, again, the code will run, because one of the conditions is true. It has to be one or the other, or of course it could be both. What about the AND operator? Well, this is slightly more complicated. Both conditions must be true for the code to run. Let's drag and drop the AND operator into place, and then drag in my two conditions. Now when we run the program, you can see nothing happens if the space key is pressed, or if the cat touches the crab. It's only when the cat is touching the crab and the space key is pressed that the code will run. Finally, let's look at the NOT operator. This simply changes a true to a false and a false to a true. Sound complicated? Well, it can be. Let's have a look at an example on the screen to help us understand. In this situation, I'd like my cat to say hello to the crab all the time he isn't touching him. I'll use the touching block from the sensing menu, but of course this will be true when they are touching, but I want it to be true when they're not touching. By using the NOT operator, I can make my code run whenever the cat is not touching the crab. Learning how to use logical operators in programs is complicated. It helps to think about the decisions you would like the computer to make and how you would reach that decision were you to make it as a human.